gave her the right to have the creative control that makes her special, right? Same thing, I'll pick on jobs. There's a sort of a paradox between surveying your customers, finding out what they want, and then giving them exactly what they say they want. That's one way. Or knowing better than your customer, being like a thought leader, and deciding that you're going to give them what you think is best. So in the book world, it'd be the difference between Dan Kennedy has a book called The No BS Guide to Marketing to the Affluent. And the book is all about exactly what you need to do to make money selling stuff to rich people. And he wrote that book because he polled his audience, and that's what they told him that they wanted to hear about, so he wrote it. On the other side, you've got the Dalai Lama, who wrote The Art of Happiness. And he didn't poll anybody to determine what they wanted. He just wanted to tell you about the art of happiness because that's what he thinks is important. It'd be weird to see the Dalai Lama book like The Art of Happiness, How to Lose 10 Pounds of Belly Fat in a Week. It just doesn't, there's something strange about that. So Steve Jobs is like the Dalai Lama. We didn't tell him we wanted an iPad. Most of us told them that we didn't want that, and we had no idea why we might use one. I'm still not sure why I use one, but in the house we have 3 now, so somehow he got in there. So many entrepreneurs use that to not listen to their customers. They say, I'm going to build a new product. It's a vacuum cleaner that works by it's like hand wound. You go like this, and you wind it, you wind it, you wind it, and it works that way. And I say, well, that sounds like a horrible idea to me. Did you poll your customers? Are you sure that they want this? They go, well, we're like Apple Computer. We don't need to listen to our customers. We just know what they're going to want. So you get the problem. So what do we do about that? Well, the trick is to separate actions versus assets. You don't want to copy the actions of your role models. You want to copy the assets. So let's say we wanted to fly. And we might pick a role model for flight. You look, and this bird can fly, so we're stoked. Got our role model, we got our mentor. And so instead of trying to do what the bird does and just hope it works out, you might look at what are the assets the bird has that enables flight. So a light structure, wings, a relatively powerful propulsion engine. And if we build the assets, when we build something with a light structure, with wings, with a relatively powerful propulsion engine, we're much more likely to achieve flight than if we just run around flapping our arms. What's interesting is that the bird actually doesn't do the action that the pilot does, not at all. And it makes sense because the bird already has achieved the thing we're trying to achieve. So it would be weird if you and your role model could do the same thing and have it work the same for both of you. It also means that rather than picking these astronomical role models, it's really important to pick a role model that relies on assets that you can develop now. It seems unlikely to me that we should pick Brad Pitt as a role model because none of us can develop this kind of stardom that he has, which is the main asset that he uses to be successful. He'd be a horrible role model for us. It's much better to pick a model for success which relies on assets which are as similar as possible to the ones we already have, and then look at the difference and start building those one by one. What's cool is once you know the asset that you want to build, and it's as close as possible to what you've already got, there are lots of resources, including the programs like Jennifer and I teach, that will tell you step by step how to build it. It's really, it's been done before. It's not something you have to reinvent yourself. It doesn't require willpower. It doesn't require creativity or genius. It just requires relaxing into taking the steps that work to build the asset. And once you have all of the assets working together, then you're going to fly, which is, I think, amazing. It's an emergent property. And instead of doing something and expecting the success to come as an effect of the cause of your action, You build all the components that work together to create success, and then success emerges for you. And as long as those assets are in place and they're healthy, you're going to be successful. It works every time. It never doesn't work. Next thing is the procrastination overwhelm. How many of you guys experience procrastination and or overwhelm regularly? Yeah. I didn't hear that, but it sounded funny.
I say every day, every minute.
Every day, every minute, exactly. And how many of you, let's just say, raise your hand if you think that the reason that you experience these two things is because of how cool you are, how good you are. Okay, good, you got one. And then how many of you think you experience these two things because of something wrong with you? Right? You're not good. Yeah. Most of us think it's that we're not good. I noticed something amazing, which is that I was in the DMV, and I looked at the employees in the DMV, and not one of them was procrastinating or overwhelmed. Not a single one. And that got me thinking. Because for a while I thought everybody felt this way. And I was in the DMV, and I was totally procrastinating and completely overwhelmed with what I was up to. And I looked at the employees there, and they were like chatting and relaxed and smooth sailing. And it occurred to me that the entrepreneurs are bred to experience procrastination and overwhelm. Entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurial spirit is designed to produce these experiences. It's almost like you cultivate them. We entrepreneurs as a group experience, let's say 90% he makes up on the spot of all of the procrastination and overwhelm experienced in the world. We've got the market cornered because we think that we think that procrastination, for example, is that we lack the willpower to do what we're supposed to do. Like we're supposed to do something, but we're not strong enough to do it, right? That's kind of what procrastination feels like. But it's not. Procrastination is, in fact, the feeling of I have to do this and I don't know where to start. And when you have those two things combined, something that you feel you must do, and you aren't sure where to start, that's when procrastination occurs. And you can fool yourself. If you're procrastinating, you think that you know where to start. I used to always procrastinate filling out my taxes. I'd be like, well, I know how to do it, I know what to do, but I'm procrastinating doing it. Well, it turned out I actually didn't have a process that I believed I knew how to do. First thing I had to sit down to do my taxes was sit down and think through where are all the pieces and what do I need and how do I get them. It was not systematized at all. But as soon as you know exactly where to start, you know with certainty and no doubt where the best starting point is, where that entry point is. It's like having a little thread on a sweater. You can just yank that thing and pretty soon you got a ball of yarn. And if you take any entrepreneur who's procrastinating and you give them a simple, solid starting place, they'll get right to work. They'll go. So that's cool. Every time you think that you're lacking willpower, you're not lacking willpower. You just don't know where to start, and that's fine. So the thing to do is to try and figure out, again, where to start. What's next? Overwhelm. Overwhelm is, we think that we get overwhelmed when we have too much to do. Right? If you're feeling overwhelmed, I'm like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm completely overwhelmed. Why are you overwhelmed? I've got so much to do. Right? But that's a little silly because, on what time frame? If you think about everything you have to do tomorrow, it's a lot, and then everything you have to do this week, and then everything you have to do in the next 2 months. And if you think about everything you have to do in the next 30 years, that's a lot that you have to do. But somehow you're going to work it out. You're going to kind of figure out it's going to do one thing and then the other. So it's really not that you have too much to do. You don't, by the way. Barack Obama does have the same 24 hours we do. And regardless of what you think of him, he gets a lot done. So it's actually that I have to do this thing, I must do it, and I feel like I can't. That's what causes the overwhelm. I have to, and I can't. I have to, and for procrastination, and I don't know where to start. And this is what's cool. As entrepreneurs, you take opportunities, things that you can do, and convert them into your mind as things you have to do, that you must do. You know, part of why you're overwhelmed, like you're overwhelmed because you should be following up on leads, or there's an opportunity to expand and you need to be investigating it. You take opportunity and convert it into your minds as a have to, as a must. And I think that's awesome. I think that means something good about you. That you have the ability to experience opportunity as a must. I must do this. It's inspiring. You want to follow people who must lead, who must go forward, who must create the future, who must provide value, who must expand, who must grow, who must give as much as we can. It's cool. So keep the I have to part. And all we have to solve are the I can't or the I don't know where to start. So let's talk about can't. I mentioned Spencer, my son. This is him. He was, I think, 4 in that picture. He was giving a speech on a stage like this one to about 300 entrepreneurs on risk. I didn't know what he was going to do. He just said, "Can I have the microphone?" And then I said, "Sure." And then he said, "I'm going to tell you 2 stories about risk." Well, first he asked me what I was talking about. I said, "I'm talking about entrepreneurial risk." He says, "Okay, give me the mic." And I was like, "Okay." I gave him the mic. He says, "I want to tell you 2 stories about risk." He said, "The first story is that when on my first day of kindergarten, I was afraid that the kids wouldn't like me." That's the first time I've heard of this. I had no idea. I was like, "Whoa." He said, "Yep, I was afraid. But I took a risk. I went anyway. And it turned out to be right." My second story on risk is that one time I was being chased on my bicycle by a monster with 1 zillion eyes. And the zillion-eyed monster kept chasing me, no matter how fast I went, all the way up to 10 miles an hour. Which for him felt very fast. And then we laughed, and then he stopped and he said, "And I want to let you know that there's the 2 stories that I have on risk, they have something in common, which is that they're made up. Because risk is just something you make up." So I took the microphone back and was like, "I don't have anything more on that." That's awesome. He like me, is dyslexic. And so he's having trouble reading. He still doesn't love it. Well, I still don't love it. He started to say, "Dad, I can't read." I say, "Hey, read the thing." "Oh, I can't read. Can you read this book?" "I can't read. I can't." And then that went on for a couple weeks, and then, right at the time of the expectation of school, I think it was 1st grade or 2nd grade, that you should be reading. And so that's when that can't read thing came up, which I thought was interesting. That can't read wasn't an issue until cultural expectation created that it was. And then he started to can't do other things. I can't clean up my room, I can't eat the broccoli, I can't tie my shoe, I can't take off my shoe, I can't find my pants, whatever it is, my shorts. And one time he said that he couldn't take off his shoe, and I was like, "All right, we're going to have a talk about this can't." And I said, can't has a hidden meaning. Can't is a very special thought, and it has a hidden meaning. And the hidden meaning is that you can, but you don't know the order of the steps. You don't know the sequence. So anything you think you can't do is something you can do, but you don't know the sequence. And he didn't believe me. So I said, "All right, well, what's something you can't do?" He said, "Make chalk." Okay. I was like, "Cool, make chalk." I'm like, "Well, let's find out what the order of the steps are for making chalk." And then, I said, "We're going to look it up in Google, your competitor." to look up making chalk. And I started to look up, and he says, no, I know. So step 1 is you need some kind of a powder. And step 2, you need like some glue. And probably step 3 is you have to push it together real tight. So I looked up how you make chalk, and that's in fact how you do it. You have the powder, and then you put kind of a resin in there, and then they compress it. I said, okay. And then we did this like 3 or 4 times. What's something else you can't do? What's something else you can't do? Now something he can do that I can't do is make scrambled eggs. So his mom was a great cook. I said, you know how to make scrambled eggs, and I don't. I can't do it. What would happen if I tried to serve the egg and then put the butter in the pan and then put salt on it and then eat it and then crack the egg open and then wash the pan and then put it on the plate? And he laughed. It would be a big mess. I said, right, if I was doing that, even though I did all the steps, you would tell me that I was doing it wrong and I couldn't do it. And my experience is I can't do this. Even though I got every single step right, I just got them in the wrong order. And that's the same thing that's going on for entrepreneurs. There is an order of the steps. You can scale and grow your business. It's just about getting the sequence right and knowing where to start. And you can eliminate overwhelm, eliminate procrastination by knowing where to start, and turn anything you think you can't do. I can't grow my business, I can't find someone who can replace me, I can't figure out how to get more leads, into something you can do by understanding the proper sequence. It's not about knowing what to do, it's about knowing what to do next. So, a little bit later, probably 2 years after that chance conversation, we went to Mexico. My parents have retired in Mexico and they live in Puerto Vallarta. Very proud of them. They're actually living the dream they set out to live. It's really, really cool. So rare. And it's the first time that my parents have been alone together, for 40 years. Because when they first got married, my mom already had 3 kids, and I was the first kid to my dad. So they had kids or parents or grandkids in the house their entire, 41 years of marriage until now, and they're like honeymooners. It's really sweet. So Spencer wanted to spend some time down there for a summer vacation, so he took him down to Puerto Vallarta. I dropped him off there, and he was there for a couple weeks. And I get this picture posted to Facebook and emailed to me. And, hey Dad, do you like my shorts? I was like, yeah, they're pretty smart. And he said, I made them. What do you mean you made them? Well, I decided I want shorts, so I went to the Google and I looked for how to make shorts, and I got a design, and I went to the fabric store in Mexico, and then I got the fabric, and I got the zipper, and I got the pocket material, and then I put it all together and made myself some shorts. Which I'm pretty impressed. It's a nice fit. I wish my shorts always fit like that. They're pretty cool. And I said, I don't believe you made shorts. How in the world did you do that? And he just said, well, you just got to know the order of the steps, Dad. You just got to know the order of the steps. So you really can do anything if you know what to do next. So the structure is for rapid scale. One, you have to plug the holes below the water line. This is a review of what we said. 2, you build the assets. Don't copy the actions. You build the assets, don't copy the actions. By the way, business assets here, when you're modeling the assets, it's like an asset could be a website that when people go to it, they enter their email address. And another asset could be a system for keeping email addresses that keeps in touch with them automatically. Another asset could be a sales script, a PDF of a sales script that if an average salesperson follows it, they're probably going to sell. Another asset could be the brand of the franchise that you bought. So you want to model all the assets, not the actions. And then sequencer strategies. If you're doing something that's not working, you're doing it in the wrong order. Most entrepreneurs try to do things too early. The stuff you're struggling to do is the stuff that actually should be done later, and you skip steps, which are making it hard. Growing a business is easy. It's like growing a tree. it kind of grows itself if you do it in the right order. And every step gives you the energy, the time, the money, and the capability of doing the next step when you do them in the right order. That means if you're doing anything that's too hard, you've skipped a step, you need to go back. Because it should feel just like baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step, baby step. Oh, we figured out this, okay, and the next thing that we need to do is make this more predictable. Okay, well, let's look at where are the ups, where are the downs? Oh, well, the easiest customers to make happy have this profile. Let's try and get more like that. And the next time the customer tells us that they either want this or that, we'll steer them in the direction of the ones that are easy for us to take care of. Okay, that's working. And so forth. Good. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to text me your email address. That's my phone number. You're welcome to call it, although I have to warn you, I don't check my voicemail. So you can text me or call me anytime. When you give me your email address, this is where the free gift comes in. When you give me your email address, I'm going to send you an email that to invite you to participate in a program that we've got for our current customers now. And the program works like this. You're going to get a link to a rapid scale assessment. It's going to take you between 15 and 20 minutes to fill out. It's a series of yes/no questions. Do you have this asset? Yes or no? Is this true of your business? Yes or no? Do you have a website with a .com domain name? Yes or no? Just yes or no. It's going to be super easy for you to answer. If you get to any question and you're not sure, you don't know what I'm talking about, just click no. It's fine. Most of the time you're going to say no to these questions. It's okay. If you clicked yes to everything, we'd expect you to be at about $5 million of scalable revenue. When you finish the survey, you'll get an email, a follow-up email, inviting you to talk to one of our business experts who have the survey results. Part of the survey results look like that spider graph we were looking at earlier. And the other part of the results are the next 6 highest leverage assets you need to build in priority order. These are the next things you need to do. And the business expert can talk with you about what they mean, how they apply to your business. So far we've tested it with 100 entrepreneurs, and 95 of the 100 said that all 6 were enlightening and perfect. They were exactly what they needed to do. And it just throws away any kind of doubt. Because all the time that you want to spend growing your business, all you need to do is spend your time doing those 6 things in that order. And if you don't know how to do one of them, you can get help. We have programs that help you with the steps of each one of those. It breaks it down further. But there's no like, oh my God, I should be, or why don't I, or I'm not sure where I should go next. It just answers those questions. So you'll get the strengths and weaknesses spider graph. You'll get the next 6 priorities. And you'll get an hour-long call with our business experts. Who can go through it, just interpret it for you, see where you're at. And if you have any questions, or how does it apply, what does it mean? By the way, those 5 out of the 95 that said that it wasn't quite perfect, I looked at their results, and they were right, meaning the results were correct. The entrepreneurs were just so committed to their worldview of how they thought they had to do it that they couldn't see that the path for the highest leverage growth in their business was something other than what they thought they needed to do. So we straightened them out. It's okay now. We're on track. Just for fun, Philips is a client. They're a Fortune 100 company. They invented the DVD, like the television sets. Philips. They're a client, and so I went in and we took this entrepreneurial survey. So real proud that we just came out with the rapid business assessment. And I was talking to the VP of marketing at Philips about it. And he said, well, let me take it just for fun. I said, okay, well, you can. It's designed for companies that are, under $1 million, to $1 million, 2, 3, 4, 5 million. It's really not designed for like a company like Philips. which is 32 billion in revenue. And he said, well, let me take it anyway. So he took the survey, filled it out, and it came out with a marketing plan for Philips, which he said was higher quality than the one the executives had been working on for 3 months. So they threw out the plan that they were going to do, and they just did the 6 steps that the planner said to do. So I think I was really surprised by that and also proud. It tickled me. So I'm going to give that to you. It's totally free, as is the call with the rapid scale business expert. And then you'll know exactly where you are on this graph. You'll know exactly what you need to do. You know, the woman who was saying earlier, how do you get that 15 minutes? It's not necessarily with me personally, but you're going to get the results. You're going to know exactly what's next and what you need to do. Does that sound good? All right, thank you. This has been super fun. We're going to do a Q&A. I wonder what time do we have? 2:30, so we have an hour, right? So why don't we do a 15-minute break and we'll come back and do some wild questions. All right, thank you.